What's up everyone? We have a bit of a quick video for you here today on how to properly stencil a Wilson racket. I know there are lots of videos and people showing you how to do this, but there is a true quality tour way to do it that a lot of people miss. So let's jump right into it. To start off, when stenciling, you have to make sure your strings are straight, so definitely take that time to set them and make sure everything is perfectly straight. With straight stencils, or straight strings, you can do a better stencil. The second part is that your butt cap will help determine a heads versus a tails. So instead of having it like this, we want to make sure it's facing upward. And the same thing with the Wilson, the W should have the little W pointing to the side, not backwards. So we'll set it up like that. A second thing that I notice all the time is people push this straight to the top. I think that is an awful way to do it. You never want to do it like that. You want to have it more centered. And the true way is to have it between the 5th and 6th strings. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in between these two strings is where the top of your W will sit. You don't want to put it flush on the string because I think that's a very tough inking. If you go just a little bit above, you'll notice you'll get better results. And what I mean by that is if your string's not perfectly straight, and you set it up right to the string, you're going to have some issues. But if you sit it a little bit higher, you get a nice edge on that W. All right. And another thing we want to do is we want to use reference points. So we have the top of the W in between the 5th and the 6th string, and we have this peak and this point in the bottom of the W, which you can sometimes center to in the middle to make sure it's fully centered in your racket. Okay. Now the ink choice that we're using for this racket is red Wilson ink. If you use black, white, etc., I don't even want to know you. You're just disrespecting the Wilson racket. Wilson rackets are made to be stenciled in red. I think across all tour players it's mandatory. And yes, there's that very slim chance of having a black string that doesn't show it, but it's very rare. So predominantly stick with your red strings. And what you want to do is you want to have a cardboard, a piece of paper, something to go underneath the racket to make sure that you're not damaging your table, your counter, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew my red ink. If for any reason it's a new red ink, you can start by kind of dapping it on the cardboard, make sure you get it running. And as you can see here, I have a little bit of ink going. So now, as I showed, we're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in between 5 and 6. I'm centering this peak to kind of touch in the middle there, and we're going to do a circular motion. So we're going to start just wrapping around, nice circles. Make sure you touch every edge. You don't want to do anything crazy like this. You want to work your way through the stencil, working around. I'm not pushing really hard down on the paper. I'm kind of like, if I let go, it's just going to fall over. I'm just guiding it. You don't want to overly ink that racket. Okay? Double checking to make sure I don't have any missed spots, and I'm fully set. What you want to do is you want to now tap that racket down to make sure that you don't have any droplets of ink left between the strings. And I'm going to flip the racket and flip the stencil. Then we're going to repeat the procedure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In between 5 and 6, I'm going to go just a touch over that line, and I'm going to use that peak at the bottom to center it and find my reference point again. Make sure I'm perfectly straight, and I'm going to work the way through. Circular motions, running on the edges, making sure I'm touching all of those strings, getting a nice even coat. I'm not pushing and squeezing hard on the tube to make sure clunky ink comes through. All right, I'm going to place that down again. I'm going to tap it on a cardboard or on a piece of paper to make sure I don't ruin the counter and to make sure I get all the ink droplets off. And that is a great way to stencil a racket, but we're not done yet. What you want to do is you want to also have possibly some rubbing alcohol or other types of materials. You can pour it and put some on a rag like that. And by tapping it or getting ink, you can clear up the sides of the frame to make sure it's always sparkling. You're not putting any ink droplets anywhere on the racket. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a proper Wilson stencil. Again, not flush on the strings, just a little bit up between that 5th and 6th string. Make sure you're matching the logo. It should be a W, it should be an RF, it shouldn't be backwards like an M or anything like that. and making sure I center it, not fully at the top, but centered with just enough amount of ink. Any questions, let us know in the comments below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.